What's up, everybody? AJ Kirsch here, back at you with some fresh YouTube content. Now, I know it's been a little bit longer than at least I would have liked between my most recent video and this one. I appreciate your patience. Again, life gets lifey sometimes. I get busy sometimes. Well, most of the time I'm ridiculously busy. Of course, WrestleMania just happened, which means a couple days prior, Hood Slam had its biggest show of the year. That entire week, I had to be up at 4 a.m. because I was working on a project that I'm not at liberty to discuss, but rest assured, you're going to be very excited when I can tell you about it. But anyway, I'm back. Here we are. It's time for part 2 of what's probably going to be the last WWE 2K19 Q&A I do ever. So I put it out on Twitter at AJ Kirsch for you to ask me your lingering questions about 2K19. I haven't seen them yet, so I'm going to get to them right here, right now. But right off the bat, I want you to hit the thumbs up button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you know exactly when new videos drop. Social media, merchandise, upcoming shows, all that information can be found down here in the comments. And if you have any other questions, if you have any other feedback, I encourage you to sound off in the comments right here. I want to know what you have to say about my YouTube channel because we're going to keep right on rolling. So without any further ado, let's dive into what is probably, in all likelihood, going to be the final WWE 2K19 Q&A. Here we go. Let's see. It's Macho T on Twitter asks, hardest scene to do for Buzz and why? Probably the stuff in the multiverse with Matt Hardy, because I had to really just imagine what it was going to look like, and even the folks at 2K at the time were like, yeah, we're not really sure what it's going to look like. We're just going to just imagine that there's some weird stuff over here, and maybe there's a floating hourglass over here, and maybe there's a piano off in the distance out there. So it was very just like, it was very, I don't know, use your imagination, I guess, which anytime you get paid to use your imagination, I think you're doing okay. So it was a lot of fun, but that was probably the most challenging scene to shoot. At Mr. Creepy Boss says, how many botches did you have when reading the lines? Did 2K tell you which emotions to portray and how each lines are spoken? There were a couple botches here and there, but really we were on such a tight schedule that even if we tripped over a line or flubbed a word or something, it was just like, just keep going. We'll fix it in post-production. So, couple botches here and there, but nothing too bad. And did 2K tell you which emotions to portray and how each lines are spoken? They'd give us direction. They'd give us, like, they would let us do the scene, and then if they had specific direction, like, we want you to be a little bit more apprehensive or a little bit more angry, then we would do it again. But really, considering that most of the people I was working with had a background in wrestling, they were pretty pleased generally with the very first take, so it made the entire process a lot easier. At Iconic Foxy says, do you know if there's also a women recording a women's My Career in 2K20? There has been no announcement made about 2K20, so unfortunately I cannot speak on a game that has yet to be announced. How did you get into voice acting and then land the role of Buzz? It's kind of a long story. If you want to hear it, I invite you to check out the episode of me on the Steve Austin Show podcast. It's available wherever you get your podcasts. Just look for Steve Austin Show, and I think the title is WWE2K19 with AJ Kirsch. The short version is, I've always wanted to do voiceover work, and shortly after my tenure on the 2011 season of WWE Tough Enough, which is available on the WWE Network, I got signed to a casting agency here in the San Francisco Bay Area, and they send people out on auditions, and one of the auditions I got was to read for the role of Buzz in 2K19. I didn't know it at the time because it was under a working title, but I knew it was wrestling related, and obviously I have wrestling experience, so I was like, this is a perfect fit. I hope I get it, and lo and behold, I did. But the entire story can be heard on my chat with Stone Cold Steve Austin on the episode of the Steve Austin Show podcast that he and I were on. I feel like I'm talking a mile a minute. I need to take a moment to swallow. Okay, here we go. Who did John Cena's voice? I don't know, and I think if I were to find out and put it out there, I think people would show up with like pitchforks and torches. So I'm gonna spare him the riot act. That came from Gamer Shane 31. The Quincy Show asks, did you have any control over the nickname Buzz? No, I did not. That was in the script and was out of my control to change it. I didn't really want to change it. I kind of liked it. did it just give you the name and say go with it? Yes, they did. They needed a nickname that could, that any created character could fit. So considering, the storyline and how Buzz came about, they were just like, we're just going to call the character Buzz. Oh God, what does that say? At Low All Stars YT. There we go. Your favorite moment during this mocap. The first moment that comes to mind when people ask me my favorite moment is doing the stupid Miz dance, because if you listen really closely to my voice, I'm like that close to breaking. You can almost hear me laugh, but I keep it together, and they ended up using that take, so I'm really happy about that particular scene. At MuseLover86 says, what's your favorite My Player wrestling style? 12th time I'm asking. Confession, I don't know the My Player move styles well enough to answer that question, so I'm sorry you're asking for the 12th time, and this is probably the worst answer you could probably get, but I don't know! At BJ Tits and Pizza. Awesome. Who voiced... And we're back! My mom just called, so I had to stop the video momentarily. Where was I? Let's see. A lot of people asking me who's John Cena. I'm sorry I can't tell you. Let's see. BJ Tits and Pizza, who voiced Cena. Toby Saru JC, who voiced John Cena. Yeah. Let's see. 2K Eater asked why they choose the name Buzz for my career. Again, they needed a nickname they could call My Player that could apply to anyone, regardless of how big or small or whatever their look was. And, it's just that they started generating a lot of buzz on the indie scene, so that became his nickname per Baron Blade. So, for those of you who may have not played through my career mode, that is why they call him Buzz. Kane Churko asks, what was the most part about the whole experience? Growing up a video gamer and growing up a wrestling fan, this was as close to a dream gig as I've ever had. And just the fact that, like, the validation, I guess, of just being good enough at voiceovers and a good enough actor and with a background, like, it basically validated my career decisions, if I'm being honest. Like, to be able to be the main character in WWE's flagship video game, I don't know, it just kind of reaffirmed my direction in life. So, without getting too existential, I think that was the best part, the most fun part of the whole experience was just to have them say, like, this is your opportunity now. Let's see. Agar83 says, how many recording sessions did it take? I was there 4 days. I had obligations elsewhere prior to booking that project, and they were convinced that we could get through it in 4 days, and we did. And, yeah, we just blazed through it as quickly as we could. And considering the story we were able to tell and how well 2K told it, I think everybody's pretty thrilled with how my career came out last year. Also, do you have a favorite scene you did the voiceover for? I'm going to, again, refer to the stupid Miz dance. That question came from Class of 13 Valdez. Moving on to at KH28 Everything. What was the hardest scene to film for Buzz, and how long did it take? Again, I'll go back to the multiverse scene. I think that was the hardest. And that, I mean, it only took a few minutes, really. We probably did 3 takes on that just to get some different reactions. And, eventually it involved me kind of like hearing voices in my head and having to drop to my knees and scream really loud. So they just wanted to get a couple different variations of that to make sure they had some options to choose from. At Joe Diano 24/7 says, 2-part question. Would you like to see Buzz return for 2K20, and what would you like the story to be? If 2K20 ends up happening, and I can't imagine why it wouldn't, then yeah, I would love to see Buzz return for 2K20. What would I like the story to be? I don't know. There are so many different directions you could choose for Buzz, who, when we last left him, was at the top of WWE. It could be a fall from grace story. It could, maybe he gets injured and gets taken out of the game, and focus goes to another up-and-coming wrestler or wrestlers. Maybe it's his struggle to stay at the top. Maybe he becomes this raging heel. And, I mean, there's so many different stories to tell. But, as far as what's actually happening with 2K20, your guess is as good as mine. Best moment of you acting as Buzz or the most funny one? The stupid Miz dance. That comes from @Ruben. Oh God. Zero. Ouch. Eha. I totally butchered that. I'm sorry. But thank you for the question nonetheless. Let's see. We got a few more to go. Let's see. @Jekyllbox. If WWE wanted to make Buzz real and wanted you to do it, would you? Yes. Kinda what TNA did with Suicide, but better. Absolutely, I would. I would still love to be a part of WWE. If they asked me to actually portray Buzz on WWE programming, I would have a blast doing it. What's up with the terrible voice impression y'all did on John Cena, and how come y'all didn't improve the backstage area whatsoever? That comes from BS Gaming 121500. I didn't actually design the game, so can't tell you why backstage area wasn't improved. Not my department. And I wish I had answers about the John Cena thing, but again, not my department. I don't know what happened there. @the Ryan Fouracre at the Ryan Fouracre says, difficult things you had to progress through when doing this My Career experience. Just imagining stuff that was there that wasn't, and having to react to it and have those reactions come off naturally and believable. Again, I keep going back to the multiverse where it's like, imagine this holographic serpent is flying over you, and imagine there's planets out there and a galaxy. Like, it's just some of the most ridiculous stuff, like some of the Bray Wyatt stuff too. It's like, we're at the Wyatt compound and we have to pretend that we're in this like murky swamp, and he just, the compound's on fire. Like, just some ridiculous stuff that we actually had to react to, and hopefully it came off as believable. So those were some of the challenges. Oh my God, I'm going to butcher this. I'm just going to spell it. AERYKISHERETV says, I already have the game. Cool. Thanks for picking it up. And finally, Michael Pam says, what was the hardest scene to do for Buzz and why? Multiverse. Do you think that there should be a first ever women's My Career mode in WWE 2K20 video game? Oh, no, wait, there are more questions, but I'm going to answer that one, of course. There's just one more question after this. All right. Yes, I think time has come for a women's My Career mode. I don't know that that's what's happening with 2K20. I don't know that that's not happening with 2K20. But I feel like if it happens, the time is right, especially considering that, for the first time ever, women main evented WrestleMania. I would personally love to see it happen. I think the time is right, and I think it all comes down to a good enough story. If you can tell a good enough story, doesn't matter if it's a man or a woman in the lead role. If they can tell a good story with a woman in the lead role, then yes, please have a woman in My Career mode. And, the storytellers, I've gotten to know these guys and girls pretty closely since working with them last year, and they are some damn good storytellers. So I think it's time. Finally, from Rick Rack G, why do people on Twitter think you're on the development team? Thank you so much. Somebody feels my pain out there. I don't know. I think it's just because they see me involved with the innermost workings of the process of 2K19, and they just choose to field me questions as if I can just filter them into the 2K development team. I am not 2K development. I have no say in what does or does not happen in the game. I don't know why Backstage wasn't improved. I can't bring back GM mode. For the love of God, stop asking me. But if you have questions about the voiceover motion capture process, that's where I can help you. So thank you so very much to everybody who submitted your questions, not just in this Q&A, but in past Q&As as well. Being a part of WWE 2K19 has been seriously one of the greatest joys of my entire life, and the feedback from it has been absolutely incredible. So thank you to everybody who played the game, who bought the game, who sent in questions. Can't thank you enough. If you want the inside scoop on the behind-the-scenes stories of every single cutscene in WWE 2K19, I encourage you to check out WWE 2K Fabe, a 22 or 3 episode series on my YouTube channel. The link to that is in the description of this video. Also in the description of this video is links to my social media, merchandise, and upcoming shows. Leave your comments in the comments section, and until next time, I'm AJ Kirsch. Take care, y'all.